Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Man, Antonelli here. Today, we're talking about my interactions with Tony Gwynn. I've been asked a lot ever since I put my Reggie Jackson video out. People have said, hey, you played with the Padres. Did you ever talk to Tony Gwynn? What kind of guy was he? What kind of conversations did you have? And so we're going to talk about that today. Before we do, today's video is sponsored by Rocket Sports. Rocket makes top quality baseball equipment. We use a bunch of their stuff with our Antonelli baseball teams. Go and check them out. Go to the description box below. Click the link there. It's going to take you over to their site. You're going to get 15% off your Rocket order. So definitely go and check that out. Okay. So talking with Tony Gwynn, one of the best pure hitters of all time. Guy absolutely raked. Maybe had the greatest skill of just putting the bat on the ball and squaring the thing up. It was amazing. And so I was fortunate enough during my Padres career to have a couple of conversations with him. And I want to kind of fill you in on what those conversations were like, what I took out of them, and then I've got a question for you guys. So let's start right off. The first time that I ever got to speak with Tony Gwynn was when I got drafted. So I got drafted in 2006 by the Padres. I'm sure if you're watching this, you guys already know this. But after I got drafted, they flew me out to San Diego. So I went out to San Diego. I got to work out with the team before a game. So I got to take batting practice. I had to stretch and throw and field and take batting practice and all that stuff. I got to throw out the first pitch before the Padres game. And then after I threw out the first pitch, I kind of made my way. We went to talk with, I basically got on TV. So Tony Gwynn at the time was in the broadcast booth with the Padres. And so I went up and got to talk with Tony, asked me a bunch of questions, and we basically just, got to know me a little bit better for people that were watching at home. And that was my first interaction with him. So he seemed like a super, super nice guy. And it was really cool to be able to talk with one of the best hitters to ever live. Was really, really cool. And kind of my first moment where I think I was kind of like, wow, I just got drafted and everything went really fast. But now I'm sitting here and I'm talking with Tony Gwynn. This is pretty crazy. And so that was the first time talking with him, okay? And it was pretty quick, all right? Just was up there for probably a couple of minutes. And then I went on and played my season in the minor leagues, okay? So we didn't talk about hitting really or anything like that. Now, the first time I really got to talk with Tony Gwynn about hitting was probably a couple years later. I was in the clubhouse, and I'm sitting at my locker, and Tony Gwynn is walking around the clubhouse. And all of a sudden, he comes over to my locker, and we start talking. He's just asked me a couple of questions, and he said, I've been watching you hit, and I think that you got to get loaded a little bit earlier. You got to get loaded more, okay? And so he says that to me, and it kind of caught me off guard a little bit because I saw him in the clubhouse, and I was not expecting him to come over and talk to me. He was probably like, I have to help this kid. This kid is helpless, but maybe I can say something that'll get him to hit. And so I wish I was more prepared because I would have been ready to interact and maybe ask some questions, some follow-ups from what he said. But really, he said, when he said the loading thing, he said, you just got to get loaded more. You're not getting loaded. And all I just kind of said was, oh, okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And that was all he said. And then the conversation ended. And if I could go back in time again, I wish I would have said, what do you mean by that? Could you show me what you mean? Because back then I didn't know a whole lot about my swing, and I've talked about this in other videos. For most of my life, I just always hit, right? And so I didn't really know what I did. Back then, there wasn't a lot of videotaping swings. There was not a lot of data on swings. We didn't have swing sensors and hit tracks and all these things, right? And so I just knew that I swung the bat and hit the ball until I swung the bat and I didn't hit the ball. But I didn't know, I had no idea what to do. I didn't know what I did when I was successful. So when all of a sudden I wasn't successful, I didn't know how to get back there. A lot of people say, hey man, just do what you were doing. And I'd say, I don't know what I was doing. I was just hitting. I don't know. And so when he said to me, you've got to load more, you got to load earlier, you're not loading enough, I heard load, and I kind of, for me back then, load was just getting ready to hit. But I didn't know how to load more. And so I just said to him, okay, thank you so much, when I should have said, show me. What do you mean by load more? I had the opportunity to talk to one of the greatest hitters of all time, and I didn't say anything. So now when I watch my videos of me hitting back then, I watch it now, and literally almost the first thing I said when I went back and watched, I was like, ooh, like, I'm not getting loaded at all. Like, that's literally what I said. But back then, I had no idea. And even when he said to me, he said, you're not getting loaded, get loaded more, I didn't know what to do. I literally had no idea. So, really unfortunate. And he was obviously, I mean, he was spot on. He was right on. And we just didn't talk long enough. I wish I could have been like in a batting cage with him and just had like a 2-hour conversation with him and watched him do his thing and shown me kind of what he meant by that. That would have been amazing. But we didn't have that opportunity. And I wish, again, I think because I was really young and, you know, I wasn't like I was an experienced major league player. And so when he came to talk to me, like I wasn't really ready for a big conversation. I was probably more nervous than anything. And so I didn't get out as much as I probably should have at the time. But that's the way things go. My question for you guys is, what would you have asked if you were in my position and he had said that? You know, if you had an opportunity to speak with one of the greatest hitters of all time, what are some of the questions that you would have asked? And I know you probably would have been in the same situation as me. Maybe some of you wouldn't have, and you would have been able to just start rattling off questions. But let's just say you had some time to prepare and think about what you were going to ask, and you knew you were going to be in that conversation. What kind of questions would you ask? What would be interesting for you guys to find out if you had that one opportunity to speak with, you know, a legendary player like Tony Gwynn? So that's all I have today. Kind of missed out on my opportunity. But again, that's the way things go. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys would have asked. Share the video with all your friends. Subscribe to the channel. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to do all that stuff. Go and check all our other videos out. I've made thousands of videos. So definitely go and check all those out. And that's all we got. We'll talk to you later.